Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome for the Bhakti Shastri class. We are on the 11th chapter. We'll quickly do the Manglacharan. Omagyanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you to devotees for joining in for the English Bhakti Shastri class. So the last time, uh, what we saw that how Arjuna is praying to the Supreme Lord, and how he's glorifying the Supreme Lord, he's paying obeisances, he's apologizing the Supreme Lord, and he's asking for forgiveness also. Of course, apologizing means when you ask forgiveness. And in this 44th shloka, he's going to ask Krishna that you please tolerate me, because I have been so, um, I've been so casual with you. So you please tolerate whatever familiarity, I have, with whatever familiarity I have behaved with you. So over here he says that tas tasmad pranidhaya kaya prasadaye tvam aham nisham idyam pitve putrasya sakheva sukhya priya priya harsi deva sodum. So he's saying that you are the Supreme Lord to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of a son, a friend, uh, the impertinence of a friend, or a husband, the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongdoings I may have done to you. So, primarily, he's saying that he's giving three examples over here, that just as the father is tolerating the impudence of the son, a friend is actually tolerating another friend, or the husband sometimes tolerates the familiarity of a wife. So you please tolerate me also. And he's having prostrated obeisances in front of Krishna. So sometimes, you feel that, for example, even in your life, if you see that you have a friend, and all of a sudden, he becomes the Prime Minister of India, then what will be your, behavior towards that particular friend? Like, you might just understand, hey, my this friend became the Prime Minister of India. How is it possible? So now, when you next meet your friend, how you were with your friend in childhood, you might not really behave, that way. You might be in awe and reverence. So similarly, jo hai, he's giving over here three examples as such. So let's go to the next slok. Then in the 45th slok, he is making a request to the Supreme Lord. And see, when we go in front of the Supreme Lord also, these actually are the steps, when we follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas or the pure devotees. So first is glorification, and of course, first you offer obeisances when you go in the temple. Then you're glorifying the Lord. Then you're apologizing the Lord, thinking that okay, I behave so, uh, harshly, irrationally, or please forgive all my offenses. You're apologizing to the Lord also. Then you request the Lord. So there are four steps. You pay obeisances, you glorify, you thank the Lord, you apologize the Lord, and then you make some request. So there is respect before request. So you respect that particular person, you glorify that particular person, you thank that particular person for whatever contribution he has done in your life, and then whatever you want. So even when we go in front of our seniors or the temple president or some senior devotee or some senior sannyasi or any proper disciple, this is like, in front of the Lord also you behave in that way, and in front of the devotees also you behave in that way. So over here, he's actually going to now request the Supreme Lord. He says that अदृष्टपूर्वं हृष्टोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा भयेन च प्रव्यथितं मनो मे तदेव मे दर्शयादेव रूपं प्रसीद प्रसीदादेवश जगन्निवासः. So he's saying that after seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I'm gladdened. So see, if a friend, meets the prime minister and he's saying that, I have never seen, I've never been so close to the prime minister of India. I've never seen you this way before. I'm happy to see you, but at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear of what losing you or what will happen. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, a Lord of Lords, or abode of the universe. So, if you see that immediately he has fear, of losing his friend. There's some insecurity also is there. And then he's saying that, uh, uh, you know, I don't want to see you as the prime minister. I don't want to see you as the supreme person. You please again become my friend. So there's a very close relationship, what he's expecting as such. Because even if you see in this spiritual world also, there is no one reverence between Krishna and his, friends or the Gopas. There is always like a familial relation. Like, for example, Krishna's friends can even sit on his shoulder and you can slap him. Or Krishna can carry his friends if he has, if it is his turn to carry his friends, so he'll carry also. He'll not say, "Oh, I am the supreme personality of Godhead. Why should I carry you?" No. At that point of time, the Yogamaya has a covering, and Krishna forgets that he's the supreme Lord. He only knows that I'm a friend of this particular Gopa. So he's saying that Adrishta Purvam Rishtosmi. And he's saying that Adrishta Purva means what? Earlier, the Lord has used this, that this form earlier also it has been seen. And then he's saying that Rishto Asmi Drishtva, So he's become delighted, he's become gladdened also that, oh, thank you for showing me, this particular form of yours. But at the same time, what is happening with him? Bhayena. He has some bhaya also. Bhayena cha pravyathitan manome. He has some fear in his mind. And why? And of course, he's tormented also. So, why is he tormented? Because he has seen the Kala Rupa of the Supreme Lord previously, right? So, that is why he's saying that Tad eva me darshaya deva rupam. So show me, your Deva Rupa form, the supreme form of yours, and that is why he's making a request. So if you see over here, Prabhupada is writing in his purport over here that he is always in confidence with Krishna because he's a very dear friend. And because when a dear friend is gladdened by his friend's opulence, so Arjuna is very joyful to see, that his friend is the supreme personal Godhead. And he can show, such a wonderful universal form also. But at the same time, he's afraid that, oh, I have committed so many offenses at the lotus feet of Krishna out of my unalloyed friendship. Like, they used to sit together and they used to eat together. And, Arjuna used to, put his hand on Krishna's shoulder. So that is why he's feeling a little, guilty also. And that is why his mind is disturbed. Of course, there is no reason to fear in this, but Arjuna is asking Krishna that please show me your two-handed form, your Narayan form again, the temporary, because Krishna in the Vaikuntha planet has a four-handed form, of course, but Arjuna is desiring to see one of the forms manifest in the Vaikuntha planet. But in each Vaikuntha planet also, there are many, many Narayans and they have four-handed form. Okay, holding a conch, lotus, and maize and this. So he wanted to actually see this particular form, and all these forms are one with Krishna. And therefore, Arjuna is requesting that I want to see that four-handed form of yours. So then, ahead he is saying that hmm. CV 47. The request is still continuing. He's requesting. So he wants to see. So he's saying that Kiritan Gadinan Chakrahastam Michhami Tvam Drishtumaham Tatheva Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena Sahasrabhava Bhava Vishwamurte. He's saying that, O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed Narayan form with helmeted head and with clubbed disc, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. So, he's saying that Kiritam Gadinam Chakrahastam. And he wants to see that that four-handed form. So see what the acharyas say actually, that uh, uh, Krishna is the source of all the forms, even including the four-armed Vishnu form also. And Krishna's human-like form is even more pleasing than his, this uh, majestic universal form, which is, distasteful to the eyes of the devotees. And that is why the devotees would always love to see Krishna in his two-handed form. So, Prabhupada is writing in this purport over here. He's saying that Rama Dimoti Chukalena Nayana Krishna. The Lord is eternally situated in hundreds and thousands of forms. And the main forms are like Ram, Narayan, Narasimha. But Arjuna also knew that Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead. And that is why he's asking that please show me your spiritual form, the Narayana form as such. So, and that is why Prabhupada is saying in his purport that that is the constant feature of the supreme personality of Godhead. What is that constant feature? That these forms are ever fresh like a young man. And this form, anybody who knows Krishna, he becomes free at once from the contamination of his material world. And if you see in the fourth chapter of the fourth chapter, ninth shloka, where Krishna says that Janma karma me divyam evam yoviti tyaktvatah tyaktvadehem punadharma neti mameti so Arjuna. So over there, Krishna is telling that one who knows my birth and my pastimes. or my activities, that person knows me in, tattva, he knows me as the absolute truth. Now, when he knows me as the absolute truth, then what happens? He becomes free from all this material contamination that is there. And that's how uh, he can transfer this material world and reach to the spiritual world. This is what he's saying over here. And now, so when Arjuna has requested to Krishna, and Arjuna is feeling guilty and he's feeling, pretty much fearful also, and um, he's feeling, that I've offended Krishna as such. So now Krishna will comfort his friend by withdrawing that, universal form, the Vishwarupa, and he will reveal himself in the four armed form and the two arm form also. So Arjuna is requesting that only you show me your two arm form. But an added advantage, what is Krishna showing? Krishna is showing his two-handed form also. So he'll also describe that how bhakti is the supreme, process to see any form of Krishna. So if a person has taken up to bhakti and he progresses in bhakti, he will be able to see any form of Krishna. So now the Supreme Lord will say, uh, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Prasanena Tavarjuneda Rupam Param Darshita Atma Yoga Tejomayam Vishwanantamadhyam Yanme Yanme Tvad Anyena Na Drishta Purvam. So the Supreme Lord is saying over here that my Arjuna, happily have I shown you my internal potency, the supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. So he's saying that previously nobody has seen this particular form. And uh, and why nobody has seen this? Because of course they did not have a close connection with Krishna. And why is Krishna showing this form only to Arjuna? Because Krishna is merciful to Arjuna. He is merciful to the residents of the higher planets. And now the when Krishna is attempting to persuade, Duryodhana also from the war, Duryodhana also tried to capture Krishna. So at the same time also Krishna showed his universal form that time also. But that was a different universal form from what Arjuna saw right now. And that is why Krishna is saying that nobody has seen this form previously. You are the only one who has seen this particular form. So that is why, if you see in Prabhupada's purport, that how was this form, manifested? This form was manifested by his internal potency, which is inconceivable human speculation. And see, in the beginning also, Krishna gave the divine eyes to Arjuna to see that particular form which Krishna wanted to show. So even to see the Supreme Lord, it requires his own mercy, without which we won't be able to see that supreme form of the Supreme Lord. So that is why, if you see that all the disciple devotees of the Lord could see the universal form which was shown to Arjuna by the mercy of Krishna. And then someone has commented that this form was shown to Duryodhana also when Krishna went to Duryodhana to negotiate for peace. But Duryodhana did not accept, did not accept that peace offer. And then Krishna had to, manifest that. But those forms are different from one shown in this. Just a minute. So then the next he says that so he's going to give the reason now why nobody has seen this form before. So he says that न वेद यज्ञात् ध्ययनेन नानेन न च क्रियाभिन तपोभिरुग्रेः एव रूपः शक्य अहं नृलोके दृष्टुम त्वद् अन्येन कुरु प्रवीरः. So he's saying that, oh, best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mind. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances, can I be seen in this form in the material world. So he's saying that uh, he's saying that nobody has seen this particular form. So Krishna is saying that that vision or the darshan of the Lord, they're not very easy to see. And uh, to see also, I mean, that darshan of the Lord, it cannot come by any, material endeavor also. So now sometimes somebody may wonder that do these activities, or are these activities Veda Yagna or whatever dana we are doing, are these material endeavors? So uh, uh, material can have many, meanings also or connotations also. The word material can also be said that like in a spiritual or material, like a contrast. So when you distinguish between the material world and the spiritual world. And in that sense, that which is not spiritual is actually the opposite of spiritual is actually material. So we generally, say that material as materialistic, or materialistic means, those people who are in passion, or those people who are in ignorance as such. And those who live in the mode of goodness and, have some sensitivity towards, or some thoughtfulness they have, or they discriminate also between what is right and what is wrong. So their activities can be material or they can be spiritual, but these two possibilities are there for everyone. But those who are in passion and ignorance, they will mostly act with, material mindset only. I mean, they are materialist people. So that is why he's saying that Anye Anye Kuru Pravira. Apart from you, nobody has seen this form. And it can only be seen through mercy. So to see the Supreme Lord also, we require His mercy. And Prabhupada is saying that in this purport that one cannot have the divine vision without becoming divine. In other words, those who have divine vision can also see like Arjuna. And in the Brahma Samhita also, if you see that Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. So the pure devotees, what did they do? They are carrying the Supreme Lord in their hearts, and the Supreme Lord is moving with them. So when Prabhupada over here is saying that divine means godly. So until unless somebody has this divinity, he cannot have that divine vision also. And uh, uh, Prabhupada is actually giving the definition of a demigod over here. That those who are devotees of the Lord are demigods. Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Deva. And those who are atheists, they do not believe in God. And or they do not recognize the personal aspect of Krishna. That okay, Krishna is the supreme personal God. And that is why such people, they do not have the divine vision. So in Hindi they say this that जो भगवान के सुर में सुर मिलाते हैं वो सुराज है, जो भगवान के सुर में सुर नहीं मिलाते वो है asuras. And this is what is being said. And Prabhupada further also is actually saying that those who are divine, they can see the universal form, but without being divine or without being pure, nobody can see Krishna, or without, one cannot be divine without being a pure devotee of Krishna. That is why devotees, however, who are actually in divine nature, who have divine vision, are not very much interested in seeing the universal form. They are just want to see the four-handed form or the two-handed form of Krishna. And that is why Prabhupada, if you see in the last para, he's saying that. So first of all, one has to become a pure devotee of Krishna, then he can claim that he can show the universal form of what he is saying. A devotee of Krishna cannot accept false incarnation or false followers of false incarnation. So the devotee is completely in knowledge and he knows who is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, who Krishna is or who God is, and then he will come to a particular conclusion. But sometimes, during Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time, there was a pseudo incarnate Bishan Singh. But then, he had done something wrong, and many other, regulative principles he had broken. So that's why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and all, he was put into jail because he was posing as a false incarnation of Supreme Lord. See, if somebody is a false incarnation of Supreme Lord, we should immediately identify. Firstly, we should know the signs of an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And then, if it is not matching, then we know that this guy is not an incarnation. Because if he is not an incarnation of God, then he will age, his teeth will follow, then his senses will not be in control, then his genitals will not be in control, his he will not be consistent enough to do whatever practice he is doing. Because see, one is something that you're doing very naturally, you know. We as devotees, we're doing naturally, okay, that we want to advance in spiritual life and we want to, gain the mercy of Guru and Krishna and all. So this is actually, it's a, that is what Prabhupada says, the slow and gradual process. So we are going slowly and gradually towards Krishna. But a particular person who is just, wants, some money, some ulterior motive is hidden, then he will not be consistent enough in whatever he's practicing. For some time, he might pose that, okay, I'm doing some tapasya or some austerity or some maun vrat or anything like that. But if it is not naturally for his own betterment or his own soul's purification, he has something to extract from the others, so this person will be exposed very soon. And this is how we also should see that, how we don't fall prey to such pseudo incarnations, or so-called pseudo incarnations of the Supreme Lord. And it is a big threat because sometimes nowadays media and all is so very, this that, oh, somebody showed some magic, oh, he's God. Somebody showed something, people will bow down to him. Somebody has, winning so many matches for that person, this person becomes God. Or somebody has saved somebody, that person becomes God. No, but God is not a very cheap thing. We have to understand that ultimately, and see, somebody might question also, okay, that how will the others know that who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So, Krishna has given intelligence to every living entity. Every human being has been given an intelligence to inquire, and he has to inquire. The moment he, from his heart, that one call will come that I really want to know who God is, I really want to know what my connection with God is, immediately Krishna will jump out from his heart, the Chaitya Guru in his heart immediately manifests as the physical guru, and that guru will guide you towards Krishna. But people don't want to, inquire only. People want to be so much in their own material lives that they never want to inquire that who God is and what my relation with God is, from where have I come, where do I have to go. They think only this life is all in all, which has been given, and I have to just, this life is, meant to only enjoy as such. So, these all inquiries we should also do. And to whomever we are preaching, we have to be very bold enough to preach that the truth as such. So let's go to the next shloka. So, Krishna is actually saying that only by this divine vision, okay, anybody who has done bhakti can see this universal, because it's a prerequisite to see the form of Krishna. Bhakti is a prerequisite. So pure devotees, they're not interested actually in seeing the universal form, and because why? They are not interested in seeing the universal form because you cannot reciprocate with that form. With the two-handed form of Krishna, the Sham Sundar form of Krishna, I'll be able to reciprocate with the Supreme Lord. And that is why he wanted to see the original form of Krishna. So he's saying over here that माते व्यथा मा च विमूढ़ भावो दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरं विद्रन्मामेदम् व्यपेत व्यपेतभी प्रीतमना पुनस्तव तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य. He's saying that you have been perturbed. Who's saying this? Krishna is saying this. Oh, you've been perturbed, you've been disturbed by, and you've been bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee will be free again from all these disturbances. With a peace of mind, now you can see the form that you desire. So he's saying that and even in Prabhupada is also saying in the property that devotee is not so much, interested in seeing the universal form because he's not able to reciprocate with that particular form. And uh, uh, Krishna, see, in the purport, what he's saying is that Arjuna was worried about killing Bhishma and Drona, his worshipful grandfather and master. But Krishna said that you don't need to be afraid of killing your grandfather, because when the sons of Dhritarashtra were trying to disrobe Draupadi in that assembly, okay, who was silent? Though they were at a particular position that they could, voice for it, Bhishma and Drona, they never voiced. They were silent over there that time. So this is called negligence of their duty, that they could have actually stopped Duryodhan. They could have said Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra could have said Duryodhan, but they did not, do their duty properly. And that is why, because they did not do their duty properly towards a daughter-in-law, that is why they should be killed. So, because Arjuna, did not want to fight, so Krishna is showing this universal form just to tell Arjuna that, see, these people are already killed, because they were unlawful. They were not able to, make, unbiased decisions. They were completely biased because they were eating the, food given by Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan. And that is why they did not voice. So that is why uh, this that scene was shown to Arjuna, because devotees are always peaceful and they cannot perform such horrible actions. So see, Duryodhan was not a devotee because he committed that horrible action. And Prabhupada is saying that the purpose of the revelation of universal form was shown, and now Arjuna wanted to see the four-round form of Krishna. And that is why he's saying that he's not able to reciprocate with those feelings. Either a devotee wants to offer his worshipful feelings, or he wants to see the two-handed Krishna form so that he can reciprocate in loving service with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what he's trying to say over here. And then he's saying that, so, uh, yeah, then Krishna is then revealing actually in the in two shlokas, the 50th and the 51st shloka, Krishna is revealing his universal form. So he, because Sanjay is actually reciting, the Bhagavatam to Dhritarashtra, Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra. So he's saying that, Ityarjunam Vasudevas Tathoktva Swakam Rupam Darshayamasa Bhuyah आश्वास्यायमास च भीतमेन भूत्वा पुनः सौम्य वपुर्महात्मा. Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-arm form and at last showed his two-arm form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. So, he's saying that Swakam, his own so form, so that Krishna form he is actually showing. And so when we say Swakam means his own so form, Krishna, come from Vishnu Rupa. So he has now shown his Vishnu Rupa. Okay. And from Vishnu Rupa, then he showed his Krishna Rupa. Okay. So this is how, Krishna is showing his form. And then he's saying that, then Arjuna is saying actually from the 51st shloka, he's saying that, Arjun Uvacha दृष्ट्वेदं मानुषं रूपं तव सौम्य जनार्दनम् इदानीमासीम संवृत्ता सचेता प्रकृतिं गताः. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, "Oh Janardhan, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind and I am restored to my original nature." So very nicely, Arjuna is, relaxed by Krishna when he's seeing the original form of the Supreme Lord. So sometimes, somebody might wonder that why is he saying human-like form? Can Krishna's form be called human? Yes, Krishna's form can be called human and it cannot be called a material form, because he is a spiritual person and his form is spiritual. So to say that Krishna has a human form is not really offensive. To say Krishna has a material form is not correct. It is incorrect. And to say that Krishna from is illusionary energy, we have to go beyond it. It's not just incorrect, but it is, offensive also. So in the previous verse also, Krishna is saying that, see my Saumya Vapur, and here also he's saying that, you see my, original nature, you see my Saumya Rupa, or my, you see my beautiful form as such. So that is why when he's saying that Sachetasa over here, Sachetasa Prakritim Gataha, he's saying that he's returning to his own nature. At a material level, he's returning, in the nature of like a Kshatriya. And at spiritual level of a devotee who's loving Krishna. So at a material level, Krishna is coming down, okay, that he's showing that human-like form. But at the spiritual level, he's actually trying to please his own friend Arjuna, who wants to see his two-handed form, the original form. So see, sometime now, there are external disturbances. They disturb us. And our expectation is that Krishna should set these external things right. And that is what even we pray to Krishna for. But ultimately, that external is not the shelter for us. The shelter for us is internal. I always tell, make Krishna your internal home, right? So अंदर की तरफ अगर हम झांकेंगे और अंदर की तरफ अगर हम शरण लेंगे, so then that is real shelter. So to the to that extent that externals will disturb us, to that extent it indicates that our internal is not sheltered in Krishna. So I'm not taking again and again shelter of Krishna. Anything external happening with me, which means what? Where is the problem? Problem is internal. मेरे में ही problem है. I only have a problem that I am only not sufficient enough. What do you say? Uh, Surrender to Krishna. I am only not, properly, you know, mm, taking efforts to move towards Krishna. So that is why, so example say sometimes if the, when the, if somebody, does not have a job or the, this person's share market crashes and, if we are disturbed, then it indicates that I'm not sheltered in Krishna and I should increase it. In this way, Krishna also shows us that we have not taken proper shelter of Krishna. So let me move my inner shelter from money to Krishna, or from anything that I have lost from that person to Krishna. So my position is challenged. People are not very respecting me as, a counselor sometimes. Then we may understand that, my shelter is not in prestige. I'm getting as a counselor, we need external also to be, right to serve. But sometimes Krishna, we need some financial stability also to serve Krishna. So externals are meant to primarily help us do those internal changes. We may do that, we may return to our, inner calmness also. That is why, that is why saying that Sacheta Prakritam Gataha, restored to my original nature. And then he's saying that, uh, you know, Drishtva idam manusham rupam. So then, what is the God? Krishna's form is like, Krishna's form is like a human form. So see, sometimes somebody might just wonder, hey, our form is like, Krishna's form. And why is not Krishna's form like us? Somebody might just question. So Krishna's form is like us is very, like we can say self-centered approach. And the reference point would be like me and mine. मेरी तरह क्यों नहीं है ये व्यक्ति, like, so I'm a self-centered person. That this person has to be exactly like me, or this person is all the time associating with me. Why is he not like me? So it's like a more self-centered approach. But when he's saying that मामेव अंश जीव लोके जीव भूत सनातनम, so which means what? Krishna is saying over there that Mame Vanshi Jiva Loki, these are part and parcel of Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna, which means only what? That of course, if I am a part and parcel of Krishna, I will also be like Krishna. Means I'll also have those features like Krishna. If Krishna is in a two-handed form, so my features also will be like two-handed form. And that is why we see that we have a form like God, and God does not have a form like us. So because we have come from Krishna, Krishna has not come from us. So this we need to really understand, and uh, mm, and let's go to the next shloka. So the Supreme Lord is saying over here now that because in between Sanjay was saying, and now again the Supreme Lord is continuing. He's saying, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sudurdarsham idam rupam दृष्ट्वा न सीस्यन्मम देव अपि यस्य रूपस्य नित्यं दर्शनाकाङ्क्षिणः. They're saying that the Supreme Lord is saying that, my dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear. So, if you see, in the 10th canto, when this is before the, appearance of all the demigods, came and they started offering prayers. So they also know that there was a prophecy that Lord Vishnu will come. But seeing Krishna, the demigods already knew that, okay, Krishna is going to come in Mathura and he's going to, but demigods like Brahma and Indra also, they also get bewildered because they have not seen his form at all. They don't even know what Krishna looks like. So, Prabhupada in his purport is saying that, where is it? No, not this one. There is a sentence where I'm so sorry. I just seen that yesterday, but he's saying that only by opening the spiritual eyes can we see the Lord, and not by any other means. I'm not trying to see that. I'm not able to locate that sentence. I'm sorry. But in total, like, when these spiritual eyes are open, then we'll be able to see, Krishna, not by any other. Here it is. The translators by continuous Krishna consciousness and by devotional service can have his spiritual eyes opened and can see Krishna by revelation. See, the Lord, the supreme form of the Supreme Lord is revealed by himself. It is not that, somebody will come and give us something. No, he will only come and reveal it. And by his mercy only, he will be revealing. If we have gained enough, you know, favor, of the Lord, then he will reveal it to us. So that is why even Bhagavatam in itself also, if you see, or the Bhagavad Gita also, these two books are such that only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna will Krishna be revealed. You can't enforce, there is no shortcut road, there is no mechanical process, nothing. Only on his own accord, Krishna will reveal himself to us. This is what is being said, okay? And for that, we'll have to be consistent enough in our bhakti, then only, we get those divine eyes to see the Supreme Lord. Or else we'll go and stand in front of the deity, but the deity might seem to us just as stone, some other marble piece. We won't understand only that, oh, here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So kindly enough, he has accepted to enter into this particular, stone, and that stone has become a live stone. And now it's not a dead stone. Generally, you see it's dead matter, when we say. But here is that stone which Krishna has accepted to enter in that stone by the request of the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, by the request of Prabhupada, by the request of our gurus, right? Krishna kindly enters into that particular stone, and that stone becomes a live stone. How do we come to know that that stone has become a live stone? Just give me a minute. Because every day you go and take darshan, you find something new. Apart from all the jewelry and the dress, you will find something new in the eyes of Krishna, or the smile of Krishna, or his nose, or his standing style, or his bending style, or the way he actually, puts his one foot over the other. You feel today little more bent, maybe today not so much bent, a little more bended towards Radharani. Today a little broader smile, today a little small smile, right? So daily when we are taking darshan, we experience that newness in Krishna. Like for example, you see one person on a daily basis, you see, okay, changing it, right? Like, okay, sometimes she's sad and sometimes she's happy and sometimes she's over jubilant as such. So with Krishna also, when you just very keenly you go and see, or very minutely you go and observe, you'll see that Krishna is smiling. Even when you see his eyebrows, when they say that if you see the eyebrows of Krishna, you will overcome your lust. Imagine just by seeing the eyebrows of Krishna, that the lust of a person is gone. But of course not once. You have to consistently see and make it a practice to see it again and again. And this is the difference between a dead stone and a living stone. So we know the Mayapur story also, that how Lord Narshing Dev had come. And there's a parameter for that, that when you are, when you ring that particular stone, there has to be 7 types of different sounds coming from that stone. Secondly, that stone has to be eaten by one worm, and it has to, bypass from one end to the other end, which means that is a living stone. Oh, even the Shaligram Shilas that are there, they are living stones. And they don't need any, what do you say, pran pratishtha or installation as a directly you can start worshipping the Shaligram Shilas or such type of stones which are living stones, like as such. So that is why we have to be very careful when we go in front of the deity, and that is there are so many rules and regulations that what you should do in front of the deity and what you should not do in front of the deity. So further he says that um, from this shloka till the end of 55th shloka, uh, what is Krishna's personal form? How glorious is Krishna's personal form? How glorious is bhakti? It's been actually described over here. So let's go to the 53rd shloka. नाहं वेदेर्न तपसा न दानेन च चेज्जया शक्य एवं विधो दृष्टं दृष्ट्वा दृष्टवानसि मा यथा. The form you are seeing with your transparent eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. So, the impersonalists also say that when you are less intelligent, you can think of a form, and when you are more intelligent, you can go to a formless. But here, uh, Krishna is saying, seeing him is not possible by any of these means. it is very difficult. It is not easy to see, right? And Krishna doesn't say that seeing is for normal people. He says it goes beyond rare. It's rarity, So it is so rare that with normal Vedic process of elevation, I cannot see Krishna, right? The Vedic process is like, it gives you punya, pious activities. So it can take you maximum to Swargaloka or the heavenly planets. But that cannot take you beyond the heavenly planets. And so, you know, this is what four things is being said, like, uh, s- uh, uh, when you say, no, that's Vedas. Vedas means what? Study, you recite, you memorize the Vedas. So even in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, Keshav Kashmiri knew so many, of the, Vedas, shlokas. He had memorized so many. He went and all, started defeating so many Digvijay Pandits also. And he's saying that not by going any under penances also can somebody see me. Doing so much of lots of austerities also. Like, uh, you know, um, if some Brahmana, like, um, uh, he was thinking that in CC, there is a Brahmana and he used to drink only milk. And he's thinking by drinking milk, I'll be able to, see the Supreme Lord. Or even just by giving charity. Karna also gave charity. Every day Karna used to give charity. But what exactly happened? He was killed. And Ijja means worship. Means what? Ijja means, can mean actually deity worship also. But normally, when you say Ijja, Ijja or worship, when you say, so uh, it's like you have a sacrificial fire by worship, and then when this Brahmana is chanting some mantra and is offering, that ahuti in that fire sacrifice, or that is Ijya. And what are these offerings going to? These offerings are going to all the demigods, the fire god, So you say Yajnik Brahmanas. So even those who are doing yagnas also in Krishna Leela, when the Yajnik Brahmanas and the Yajnik Brahmana Patnis, they were doing big, big sacrifices, and worshipping the Supreme Lord. But they did not actually achieve Krishna. Their wives who were very simple by heart, they achieved Krishna. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu allowed Mukunda to come and see him, that time Mukunda is praying and he's thanking the Lord to allow him to see him. And he says that just by seeing you, you know, uh, just seeing you is not seeing actually. We are also seeing Krishna every day. So, even demons like Hiranyakashipu and Kamsa are also seeing you. And so, real seeing is that you see the Supreme Lord with devotion. And that can happen only when there is devotion. And that is why Arjuna is saying, please grant me devotion. You have allowed me to see you, but you kindly give me that devotion. And devotion towards you only. आपके प्रति ही मुझे भक्ति दीजिए. So give me bhakti for worshipping you only and loving you only. So all these activities that are there mentioned here are good, but these activities will not lead to this vision of the Lord, which means that one may be able to see the Lord, but we may not able to understand the significance of having the darshan of the Lord. For example, so Supreme Lord might come right now in front of us and he'll say, ask a benediction. We might ask if somebody's immediate problem is, that his daughter or son is not getting married, or his business is not working, or somebody's job, has a problem, or some neighbor is giving a problem, some, other person is giving a problem, wife is giving a problem, husband is giving a problem, they might discuss this with the Supreme Lord. Or they might say, help me to get rid of these problems. But to have darshan of the Lord means only we have to understand from the Bhagavatam point of view that great devotees also had darshan of the Supreme Lord. Prahlad also had, Dhruv Maharaj also had, Parikshit Maharaj also had. But what all these devotees asked? Narad Muni also had a darshan of the Supreme Lord. But what did they ask the Supreme Lord? Let me always be in the association of your devotees. You're so kind enough to appear in front of me. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for giving me this rare darshan, which is impossible for great yogis meditating on you for crores and crores of years. And still you have not given them darshan, and I'm like a 5-year-old child. You are giving me darshan. So definitely you are more, compassionate on me. But let me remain in the association of devotees so that I can never ever forget my relationship with you. And I always keep serving. So all these great devotees have also asked, association of the Supreme Lord. And uh, Prabhupada also in the purport, what is he saying that? For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of grammatical knowledge or mere academic qualifications, Krishna is not possible to understand, nor is he understood by persons who are official go to the temple to offer worship. They make their visit, but they cannot understand Krishna as he is. Krishna can be understood only through the path of devotional service, as explained by Krishna himself in the next verse. Krishna is going to say now in the next verse. Very nice, Krishna is explaining us how a father explains the child. And Krishna is explaining us that how you should come to me, how you should take my darshan. Such a loving, God Krishna is. That's why I always say that Krishna is a reciprocal God. How much ever you will, to the degree you will actually go next to Krishna, more closer to Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate. Ye yathama prapadyante. So, okay, let's see the next shloka. He's saying that Bhaktya tvam ananya shakya aham mevam vidho arjuna jatun drushtun cha tatvena praveshtun cha parantapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am standing before you and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way you can enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Such a wonderful thing. He's saying that Ananya, Ananya means, over here he's saying mixed with fruit of activities or speculative knowledge. Means, yeah, what? There is nobody else. Means I'm not distracted and it is not mixed with something else, like, other things. And then he's saying that uh, praveshtum. Praveshtum means you will enter into the truth of my understanding. And uh, jnatum drashtum cha tatvena. Krishna is not saying there is any truth higher than me. He's saying in understanding me. So, Krishna is known by a particular process, and we can use any other process to know him, right? So, if you see karma, okay, when I say karma, karma will be at a physical level, you know. And when I say Ved, Tapa, Charity, Yagna, so where my heart is getting invested over there, and Jnana is at an intellectual level, Yoga is at a mental level. So, where is my heart getting invested over here? So, Ananya. So, when my heart will be Ananya, my heart is getting involved. That doesn't mean that my body and my intelligence is not used, but uh, my body and mind and intelligence is not distracted by any other things. And when we purely offer our heart to Krishna, and Krishna accepts that, and then Krishna reveals himself. And so like when we are talking, of a particular path, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and all. So a particular thing is required. Other things might support, like, for example, somebody is traveling, and when this TT is asking for ticket, he's talking about his achievements in his, field, like education and work. But still the TT will say, टिकट दो भाई, तुम engineer हो, तुम doctor हो, तुमने ये पद्म भूषण लिया है, पद्मश्री लिया, I don't bother. टिकट है क्या आपके पास? So other things can be utilized in the path of bhakti, like, dan can be utilized, but it is not dan, but it is bhakti which will pay, and dan is like a medium. Like, so when Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, mm, uh, Yagnat Karmano Yagya. When he's saying that, what he's saying that, because see, Krishna in the next, uh, you know, fifth chapter is going to say about Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. But in the third chapter, he's telling you do Yagya. Do whatever you do it as a sacrifice for me. Why do it as a sacrifice for me? Because when you do sacrifice in the fire, so the easiest accessible demigod is Agni, right? Fire god. And the highest accessible Lord will be through Agni, will be Lord Vishnu. So Krishna is saying that through Agni you can approach me and you can purify. So whatever you are doing, you do it for me as a sacrifice and offer the fruits of those results to me. And when we offer the fruits of those results to Krishna, then what happens? We understand that who is the Bhoktaram? Krishna is the Bhoktaram. Who is to be, who is the enjoyer? Who is the proprietor? So the one who is the proprietor only will be the enjoyer. And then when we act in such a way that we offer all the fruits of our action to the Supreme Lord as a sacrifice, then Shantim Richati. I'll be very peaceful. I will not get entangled. I will not be bound by the results of my actions as such. So that is why when we say dan, okay, so dan kisko karna hai? We'll be learning in the 17th chapter that when you say charity, charity in three modes: mode of passion, ignorance, and goodness. So when you say goodness, then you give it to Krishna. Okay, Krishna, you have given me this job, you have given me so much of money, and this is my requirement. What is required? This is excess. Okay, let me give it to you for the propagation of your what do you say, movement mission to reclaim the fallen souls back again. So now Janmashtami is coming. So I just heard a very nice lecture actually by His Grace Jaydev Prabhu. Jaydev Prabhu is a very senior devotee, almost like 35, 40 years have passed. So he mentioned one thing which really struck me. He says that जब प्रेम होता है तो वहां पे कर्तव्य भी आता है. So whenever there is love, there is responsibility also. There is some, what do you say, uh, mm, responsibility को एक और word है, there is accountability also, and there is you take some responsibility of Krishna also when you love somebody. Like for example, the mother has a child. Okay, she loves the child. She says, "Oh, child, I love you, I love you." But she does not feed the child. She does not bathe the child. She does not cook for the child. She does not send the school for the child. She does not take studies of the child. Then it will be only in words that I love my child, I love my child. But with love comes a greater responsibility also. And when we take this responsibility of collecting funds to the temple, because temple is sustained by donations as such. So he's saying that you are not doing it for the temple. You thinking temple ke liye kar rahe, temple ke liye kar rahe. But he's saying, no, you're not doing it for the temple. You're doing it directly for Krishna. And this is coming in pure devotional service because you love a particular person. That particular person is reciprocating with you on a daily basis. Now, how will you show your gratitude to that person whom you love and he also loves you? Then, through this medium of dan, you will reciprocate with that particular person as such. So, when we say जब प्रेम है तो वहां पे कर्तव्य भी, तो हमारा कर्तव्य क्या है? हमें इतना कुछ मंदिर से मिल रहा है, भगवान से मिल रहा है, then now how do we repay it back? That's it. So then, like, coming to this particular shloka, is saying that from Krishna, the universal form came, and then Narayana form, and then the Krishna again, like, form again. This is what he's trying to say in this particular, shloka. So this is the 54th shloka. Prabhupada has given a lot of, detailed information. Maybe I can just read it. So, ahead he's saying that one who does not take guidance from a bona fide spiritual master, it is impossible to even begin to understand Krishna. And what is our fortune? That we have Prabhupada as our Param Guru who is guiding us. Like, I have a presentation today in the temple counselors group that I'll be giving a Bhagavatam particular shloka. And I was just wondering when I was preparing, a couple of days I'm preparing for that particular shloka. I was wondering, imagine that I would just have a shloka and I would just have the meaning of the shloka and no purport. What will I be able to explain also? What will I be able to say also? What will I be able to understand? Forget about, like, Sanskrit is such a language that if you have consistently studied, still you need the spiritual master's, guidance and his favor. And without that favor, and see, we are so lucky, we are so fortunate enough that Prabhupada is there into our lives, guiding us every time. Through his purports, he's guiding us. And he's telling us what is the way to live. And if you see, like I was saying that purport what Prabhupada has written, of course, I have, sometimes you do a particular course, but, over a period of time, because of some Kalyuga Buddhi, you forget also what I had studied in that particular. But when you revisit that shloka, you feel, oh, Prabhupada's style is so wonderful. That Prabhupada is first saying this, then he's connecting it with the next, and there's a nice flow he's giving in that particular whole purport, he's giving a good flow of what has been said by the Supreme Lord, because currently it's that fourth canto, the Supreme Lord is actually giving some nice advices to the Prachetas. So I was trying to understand that. What will I be able to explain only if Prabhupada's purports were not there? And then we understand the importance of a spiritual master in our life. For us, the preeminent Shiksha Guru for all times to come is Srila Prabhupada. And that is why we are so fortunate enough. And that is why we are able to understand Krishna, at least not completely, but at least partially we are able to understand and move ahead in our bhakti. And that is only keeping us ongoing in bhakti. So he's saying over here is that this is the 55th shloka. He's saying that Mat karma krin mat paramo mad bhakta sanga varjitaha nirvair sarva bhuteshu yah sa mameti pandava. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who's friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. So see, so nice, that uh, you know Krishna is actually summarizing this whole chapter. In one sense, Prabhupada says that this is the sum and substance of the Bhagavad Gita. So he's saying that um, Mam eti, he's saying over here, Mam eti, you will come to me. And again, there is nothing which is beyond me also. When you once come to me, there is nothing beyond me. मेरे से ऊपर कुछ और है ही नहीं. So here is clear that we have our sadhya and we have our sadhan, and both are not different. When he's saying that mat karma mat paramo, mat karma krit mat parama mad bhakta, and it is referring to the sadhan and the sadhya. And the sadhan is the means and sadhya is the goal. So all this, is referring to Krishna only. After that you will come to me. So work for me, engage in my work, and when you do that, you come to me. So, there are very different levels of working for Krishna, because in the earlier chapter, the 9th chapter, Krishna says, Yad karosi, yad asnasi, whatever you're doing, you offer the fruits of that work to me. That is one level of working. And of course, that is good also, but that is not the highest level, you know. So here Krishna is not saying that Puruswa Mad Arpanam. He's saying that do my work, mera kaam karo. So Mat Karma Krin means you do service for Krishna. Like we do DT worship, we do book distribution, we do some collection, and in this way we do Krishna's work, right? And then he's saying that Mat Paramo, make me the supreme goal of your life. Paramo is actually why important, means all of us, because we are living in a material world. So we have some, intermediate goals also, which are very important. So Parikshit Maharaj, in Parikshit Maharaj's case also, what was happening is that was a king, and he was engaged in so many essential duties which were required. But as soon as he came to know, 7 days only left for me. So he has taken full work in Krishna consciousness only. I don't know how many years are left for me. I might die after giving the class also. I don't know. How many days have I left? How many minutes? How many seconds are left for me? So we should have some temporary goal in our spiritual life. But Krishna should be our eternal goal. जो मेरा लक्ष्य है ना, वो कृष्णा ही होना चाहिए, कि मुझे यही व्यक्ति को समर्पित करना है अपना जीवन. He is only my eternal goal. And whether Krishna is our eternal goal, that will be tested when our temporary goals and eternal goal will conflict with each other. Which means like normally, we want our temporary goals to, contribute to our eternal goal. And when these goals, are conflict, that time, we have to make some wise decisions or some courageous decisions. Right? And we will sacrifice that intermediate for that ultimate, which we don't, it's not that we have to renounce something like Parikshit Maharaj, but we have to put something at the background to bring something in the, front or your foreground as such. So when he's saying that Mad Bhakta, then become my devotee, engage in my devotional service. And then he's saying that Sangha Varjita, free from contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation. Sangha Varjita means only free from bad association, actually. And then he's saying that Nirvair Sarva Bhuteshu. Because just now, he had shown the Kala Rupa, which was very devouring, and Arjuna was encouraged to fight and conquer immediately. And Nirvair Bhuteshu, that is like a mystery of the Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna is not having anything personal against the Kauravas. They are, but because the Kauravas are against Dharma, and because Arjuna is the servant of the Supreme Lord, so the servant will do whatever the master says. So he is working for whom? He is working for Krishna. So the devotee does not have, self-serving agenda. मेरी सेवा हो, मैं ही मेरा कुछ करता रहूं, right? No. When devotees serve, they serve very faithfully, and they do not have any, animosity towards anyone. Like, in Ramayana also, when Lord Ram and Lord Ram told Vibhishan actually to do the last rites of Ravana, saying that, okay, the soul is always pure, which is associated with the body. It is not bad because it becomes bad because of the conditionings that, that particular, has soul has in the body. Or so on one side, the Lord is fighting with Ravana. He killed Ravana, but he does not have any animosity about Ravana. So similarly, devotees will fight at a certain occasion for the sake of the Lord. But that doesn't mean that we'll be enemies. This we have to really understand. We should not have enmity towards any person. If, for example, you don't gel well with some devotee, or if you don't, what do you say, आपके मन नहीं मिलते हैं किसी के साथ, it is better to be a distant well-wisher rather than to fight with that particular person, or spoil relations. You can be well-wisher, you can pray for that devotee always. Okay, let him be, he is also pure soul anyway. So many times Prabhupada is using the word rascal. So Prabhupada does not, means in one way, Prabhupada is not using the rascal in an angry or a very hateful way, because, like in one of the letters, Prabhupada had written that, in one of the lectures, sorry, says that Krishna says that Krishna, all these rascals have forgotten you. We all rascals have forgotten you. You give me the intelligence so that I can reconnect these rascals to you. So he was thinking about good wishes for good wishes of those people whom Prabhupada is calling as rascals. Right? Okay. Rascal actually means, it's a mudha. Mudha means a less intelligent person. And you call him a rascal, less intelligent guy, that. Sometimes people take it very offensive when, Prabhupada says rascal, rascal. But, if you convert that word, and you find the meaning, you will understand that a less intelligent person is a rascal. So, this verse is a very, very practical application which is centered around to practice bhakti. And the previous verse, the 53rd verse, he says that by any other path you cannot come to know me. Only by bhakti you will come to know me. And because the 54th shloka said no, that you will come to me only by bhakti. You can know me only by bhakti. And this particular shloka is saying that when one comes to the level of bhakti, means, for example, no other path, then he says, okay, then he comes to the path of bhakti, and then within bhakti also there has to be a level. On that level, when that person will come, then he will know me. And what is that level? That level is over here, he's saying that Ananya Bhakti, and engaged in my devotional life, devotional, service. So by only Ananya Bhakti, because when he says Mad Bhakta, when he says, no, that is only Ananya Bhakti is saying that, okay. So uh, by doing this unalloyed devotional service, we can know Krishna. But somebody might ask that, how can we come to this level of Ananya Bhakti? One level below, that is doing all these things, activities, gradually will come to the level of Ananya Bhakti, but we will know about Krishna, we will return back to Krishna. So, in this way, Krishna is concluding actually this particular chapter by glorifying devotion or bhakti. So, if you see that, mm, mm, so he's saying that anybody who is doing these things, one who engages in my pure devotion, who will be, free from bad association, and who will work only for me, who will make only me the supreme goal, and who will be a friend to everyone, then that person that is there, that person is on the level of Ananya Bhakti. So slowly and gradually, we have to do all these things to come to the platform of Ananya Bhakti. So how many things are there? One is to engage in pure devotional service, then free from bad association, that is contamination and all that. Then to work only for Krishna and to make Krishna only the supreme goal and to be friendly. Five things are there in this. Five things if we do, we are certainly going, back to Krishna. So that is why in the Subodhini, if you see, सुबोधिनी में लिखा हुआ है कि कृष्णा इज द सोर्स ऑफ ऑल फॉर्म्स Krishna's universal form, which is a temporary manifestation in this world, and the form of time, that is the Kal Rupa, which devours everything, and even the four-handed form of Vishnu, all have been exhibited by Krishna. Thus, Krishna is the origin of all the manifestations, and there are hundreds and thousands of Vishnus, but for a devotee, no other form is important but the original form. Two-handed Shamsundaram, this is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. So, anybody has any questions and queries regarding this particular chapter? Hare Krishna, everybody is awake? और मेरा लेक्चर सुनते सुनते सो गए?
We are awake, Mataji.
Okay. So since we have completed this chapter and nobody has any questions, so what I'm planning to do is start the 12th chapter. Because I want to finish it. I want to try to finish it before Janmashtami so that आप सबकी Janmashtami अच्छी जाए, you're able to do your services properly. Because if you see this 12th chapter, this 12th chapter has how many shlokas? It has almost like 20 shlokas. Yeah. And the last 7 shlokas that are there, that are qualities that are endearing to Krishna. What we should do to, gain Krishna. I should finish this by another like 3 sessions more. That is today's session and another like 2 sessions. So we are, good to go for Janmashtami, and we'll be able to, give some good performance during Janmashtami for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So, just let's go to the... Yeah. So now this particular chapter is named as devotional service, that is bhakti. Okay. Because in the previous chapter, if you see, Krishna is actually saying that bhakti yoga is, very superior, and only by doing bhakti yoga, you will be able to see his personal form. And when you have attachment to that personal form of Krishna, the two-handed Shyam Sundar form of Krishna, then that is the highest, spiritual realization. You must have seen some devotees are very attached to their deities, they're very attached to Radha Krishna or Gaunitai or to Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. Very attached. They cannot. They all the time they're thinking, "Abhi kya kare unke liye." So, and that is why Arjuna has personally experienced this, with Krishna. So, but sometimes some people want to meditate on the impersonal form also of the Lord. So, Arjuna is inquiring in this chapter about those two classes of people. And he wants to clarify his position also, that whether I am attached to your personal form or am I, an impersonal person. And Krishna establishes that, that okay, Bhakti Yoga is the highest, form of realization. And it is the easiest also, for attaining his association. And Krishna also describes that how bhakti can be practiced at multiple levels. And he gives also the qualities of a devotee, qualities of a devotee that will make Krishna, that will make him dear to Krishna in this particular chapter. So uh, from the first shloka till the 20th shloka, Arjuna is inquiring, who is better, impersonal is better or a personalist is better. And then Krishna is giving, who are the personalists and who are impersonal. Sakarvadi or Nirakarvadi. Sakarvadi are personalist, Nirakarvadi are the impersonalist. Okay. And then he will explain also the path of impersonal Brahman and everything. But he will say that, hey, bhakti is very simple. It's easy path for the personalist. And how bhakti can be done with internal senses also. Then he'll give all these smaranatmika and mananatmika and abhyas rupa bhaktis and all, fixing the mind and all that, like an intelligence on Krishna. And if it is difficult, we have to endeavor to do so. And he will say about bhakti with external senses also. If endeavoring is also difficult, work for Krishna then. He's going to give many options. अगर मन से नहीं कर सकते हो तो आप बाहर की इंद्रियों से करना. And then if you cannot do, then you work for Krishna and give up the results of that work. If it is that is also difficult, then what do? You just keep on practicing, abhyas karte raho, and you just renounce the fruits of your, work. In that way, you will do. So, and then in from the 13th to the 20th shloka, he will describe various qualities of a devotee, of which devotion to Krishna is very much primary, and the rest are secondary. But these secondary qualities only when we develop will bring us to that primary quality of devotion, and you will be able to develop in that way. So let's see the first shloka. Give me a minute. So Arjuna is inquiring in this particular first shloka that एवं सतत युक्ता ये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चापि अक्षरम अव्यक्तम तेषां के योग वित्तमाः. So he's saying that Arjuna is inquiring which are considered more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. So if you see that this chapter is called actually Bhakti Yoga or devotional service. Okay. And the last chapter, and actually this is the last chapter also in Bhakti Yoga. So from iske baad, Gyan Yoga will start from 13th chapter. So if you see all these 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, they are talking about Bhakti. But first 6 chapters are focusing more on karma, how karma will lead to bhakti. And the last 6 chapters are talking about jnana, that, and how jnana also will lead to bhakti. Abhi jnana, hum abhi bhi jnana le hi rahe hai na. We are taking knowledge, and that is how taking knowledge, then it is actually helping me, to advance in bhakti. And the middle 6 chapters are focusing about, bhakti itself. So if you see in the 10th chapter, Arjuna accepted Krishna's supremacy and asked to see, Krishna's greatness in this nature and all that Vibhuti Yoga. And then Krishna shows that how he is sustaining this whole world and, with one fragmentation. And Arjuna wanted to see the Virat Roop. And then Krishna is showing him also the Virat Roop in this 11th chapter that we saw. And then Arjuna is asking about his impersonal aspect also. In the 9th chapter also he had asked, about the impersonal aspect of this absolute truth. And then again he remembers, that okay, मुझे impersonal Brahman के बारे में जानना है. So then that is why he again asks over here, and that is why he's saying that ekatvena. When he's saying that uh, uh, what is he saying that in the 9th chapter he's saying that uh, those who are worshipping the demigods, what is that shloka? See, in the see, so ज्ञान यज्ञेन चापे अन्येन यजन्तो माम उपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम. So he's saying that this ekatvena that is there, oneness, and prithaktvena bahuda through the worship of the demigods, right? Just give me 1 minute, okay? So when he's saying that there are 3 ways, people do, yajna. Gyan yajna, this worship through this sacrifice of, knowledge. And then he's saying that prithaktvena also. Prithaktvena means through worship of, demigods also, as such. And out of this prithaktvena, then he's saying bahuda, vishwato mukham. So bahuda means that he says that those are worshipping even the demigods, has to continue in the cycle of birth and death. And then he's saying that, uh, you know, uh, he's saying that these are those people who will be falling in this cycle of birth and death again and again also. But what Krishna says that I will protect them. And in the 22nd shloka, he says that I will, but those who always worship me in exclusive devotion and meditation, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Ananyas chintayanto ma ye jana paripashate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. Right. So the point is, he's talking about 3 things. Okay. Out of which 2 things have been dealt. Okay. The first was demigod worship that is being talked about, in that chapter. And then he's talking about Vishwarup Upasana, that has been, from that chapters that will be there talking. And then there is Ekatvena also remaining. So when I'm saying Ekatvena, in this reference, so what is the concept of that worship of the absolute truth in oneness, thinking oneself to be one with the absolute truth? So that is what Arjuna will actually question now. So in that sense, like, it's not immediately related to what Krishna said in the, the last shloka of the 11th chapter, but it's a more of an exploration, which has started with a discussion as such. And this chapter will talk about bhakti is the process for transcendence. And then how bhakti can be practiced at even multiple levels. How one will be able to cultivate those qualities that will make him a devotee. So when he's saying over here that this question which he's asking over here, that both, because both are on the transcendental path. So what is best? Impersonal Brahman is also on a transcendental path, and personal is also on a transcendental path. What is best? Which of these category is best? So when we see that, so it is very clearly that devotional path is the best. But when he's saying that uh, he's saying over here that evam satata yukta ye. Okay, he's mentioning over here. So first part is actually clearly saying that bhaktas as satata yukta. And then he's saying that bhaktasvam paryupasate. So only, those who are worshipping you properly, those who are, engaged in your devotional service, then evam satata yukta mein hoga. If you see another shloka, evam satata yukta bhajata priti purvakam. So only the bhaktas will be, worshipping Krishna in a very proper way. And, uh, uh, it's a lovable God who is actually guiding us. He wants us to come back to him. So this important question, is going to clarify the distinction between an impersonal and a personal concept of the absolute truth. And let's see in the next shloka. Prabhupada's purport is very nice. You may just read it, but it's self-explanatory. I don't need to explain much as such. So then the Supreme Lord starts speaking. He says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Vesha Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Paryupate Shraddhaya Parayopetaste Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. So he's saying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, are considered by me to be the most perfect. So Krishna has used that same words, what Arjuna has used, uh, Bhaktyastvam Paryupasate, last shloka that he has used. And then he's saying that Nitya Yukta Upasate. So Krishna is, replying. He's saying that uh, uh, he is actually establishing his personal aspect very explicitly on my personal form. He's saying over here, and he's removing all those ambiguities without any interpretation. He's saying that Shraddha Parayopetas, their faith in this transcendental. It is because see, Mayavadis know what idea they have, that they have to fix the mind on a form till they become transcendental, and after that they can leave the form and go to a formless. So what the Mayavadis do? Firstly, they take the ashray or shelter or the sahara of a transcendental form. Okay. And then when they reach to that particular, stand, then they will go to the formless. But that is not true. What the Lord is saying over here is that Shraddha Paryupetas. So with that transcendental faith, what is happening? What do Mayavadis do? That they have to fix a mind on a form till they become transcendental, and after that they leave that form. But over here we don't leave the form, we stick around to that particular form, And we don't go from form to formless. We go from form to form only. Mayavadis, they go from form to formless. But over here, in the beginning also we see a form, and in the end also we are seeing a form. We don't renounce anything. We don't give up. We don't have that selfish motive that we will take help of the form, and then when we reach to that formless, then we will leave that particular form. So we don't behave in a selfish way that okay, मुझे आपकी जरूरत यहाँ तक थी, अब मुझे मिल गया है, अब मैं आपको छोड़ दूंगा. Not that way. Okay. So that is why even when we become transcendental, we have to fix the mind on Krishna's personal form only. Okay, this is what I think. So one may say that, there is no word like, Rupa, which is used, which he is talking, about his personal form. But Krishna has used this word. What he has used this word? Mama. He's used the word mam, and he's using the word uh, uh, mai also, upon me, right? So there is no impersonal light, and he's speaking to Arjuna. ऐसा तो नहीं ना, Krishna is an impersonal light and speaking to Arjuna. No, he's speaking. So mam means Krishna himself is speaking, and that is why Krishna is a person, right? Okay, let's see, the next logo, what. Because the second slokana is speaking that pure devotees are ekdam perfect in, yoga. They know how to connect to Krishna right from the beginning and the end also. Okay, let's see the third and the fourth. So, this third and the fourth slokana, he's going to speak about what is the process of impersonal Brahman worshipper, what is his process and what will be his destination. Okay. ये त्वमक्षरम् अनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गम चिन्तय च कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवम् तन्निमेन्द्रियं ग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धय ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immobile, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all, at last they will achieve me. So see what he's saying that, when he's saying over there, ye tvam aksharam anirdeshyam, when he's saying that. And aksharam means what? Is beyond his perception of these senses, right? And he's talking about even the non-manifested aspect, that how he has to be worshipped. And that is what he's saying that Sannimaya Indriya Gramam, with all the senses, he's saying that. So one is that Niyamendriya, I have to follow certain rules and regulations as such, and strict rules and regulations. And Indriya Gramam also, controlling of the senses, and controlling the senses that Sarvatra Sama Buddhaya. So everywhere I have to be equally, equal disposed means actually I have to have an equal vision also, right? Towards every living entity. And then such people, they will certainly, attain me or obtain me. And so see, when will such people obtain me? So, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. When they will have that attitude of doing welfare activities to all the living entities. Okay, they'll be engaged in that welfare activities to all the living entities. So, in this verse, Krishna does not speak anything negative about these people. They will also obtain me. But in the next verse, he will say that that is not so easy, because Arjuna's question was, who is the most united, uh, Krishna said that those who will fix their mind on me and those who are most united with me, they will fix their mind on me, and others will also come to me, but that process is a very difficult or a complex process, and they will have to follow the process, and because the process is basically, centered on equanimity and equal vision towards everyone and every living entity. So this is what he's saying in these two shlokas. Let's see the next. Okay, we will just stop after this particular shloka. No, it's a nice shloka. It's saying that क्लेशो अधिकारस्तस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तसक्तचेतसम् अव्यक्त हि गतिर्दुःखम् देहवद्भिरवाप्यते. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifest impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So, there are two words. One is klesha over here, and the other is adiktaras. Means, uh, which is, see, this klesha word is a little negative word, okay? And then he's saying that klesh means, trouble or struggle. And then there is, dukkham also, there is great trouble also, like, that way, misery also. And he's saying that klesha adiktar. Adiktar means mostly, So tesham means what? Of them, he's saying, na? And who are they? They are, those people, those impersonalist, they will get klesha. They will get trouble also. Okay, and then he's saying that avyakta asakta chetasam. So their consciousness is attached to whom? Their consciousness is attached to the avyakta, the one who is impersonal manifestation. And they are attracted to that impersonal aspect of the absolute truth. And that is why he's saying that avyakta hi gati dukkham. So those who have made this avyakta, this impersonal form or the unmanifested form, of the Lord as their goal or their life, then this process will be very difficult to them. And then he's saying that deha vadabhi apyate. And he's saying that those who are in that particular body, apyate. So it is difficult for us to conceive that on a particular, formless form of the Supreme Lord. So material is a negative aspect and devotion is a positive aspect. And impersonal is, like, you can say, zero. Material is, negative and positive. And that is why, just give me a minute. My battery is going to die and I need. So, he's saying that giving my material, many material forms, and he's trying to concentrate the mind on nothing and on the less, or you can say the attribute list. Right? So, or the activity list. So Brahman is very much difficult for everyone, and especially for this देहधारी व्यक्ति जो देह में फंसा हुआ है, for that person to attain Brahman is very difficult. Just like, if you see, it is very difficult to create and maintain a vacuum. It is similarly difficult to create a vacuum in consciousness also. So, what is there to think about? It is very difficult. मैं किस पे सोचूंगा? But over here, when we're thinking about the form of the Lord, his activities, his pastimes, and his form and his qualities, we are meditating on. So in several verses, Krishna has established that his form is personal, and that personal form is the highest. When he says, Aham sarvasva prabhavo matta paratarannanya, when he's saying that, Maya dakshina prakriti. So many places, he's saying that, all these slokas. So, and then he's saying, Avajananti ma muda, those who don't need, they are mudahas, like, when Prabhupada says in that rascals, like that. So, uh, very clearly Krishna says the impersonal aspect is not the highest. And those who think that impersonal is higher than personal is like they're completely mistaken people. So our obsession in the material world, give me 1 minute. Huh? So our obsession for that material world becomes very much less. Because when we rise from that lower mode to the higher mode, and when we are in that goodness mode, then we are almost contemplative, and we can surely think more about the features of that, absolute truth. But when we are in passion, we, will act on a bodily level a lot. And when we are in goodness, our activity is more at an intellectual level. So we do not need to act on a bodily level at that point of time. And that is why, if you see, even all our previous acharyas also, Ramanujara acharyas also explained in a bit different way that Arjuna is asking someone focus on the Atma and then, progress. And the other person just focuses on you, who is the better. So by cultivating Atma Gyan, we can be, detached from matter and attached to the spiritual truth. So that is why the first 6 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita also, Mam has come very less. And 7th to 12th chapter, very frequently, almost every second verse, Krishna is using the word Mam or Mama, So for focus on the first 6 chapters is you detach from your material body and act in the mode of detachment, so that you will progress towards the Supreme Lord, Krishna. And it is all based on what Gyan? It is all based on Atma Gyan. That means. So Arjuna's question is, which is better? Atma Gyan is better or Bhagavad Chintan is better? And Krishna clearly says that those who fix their mind on me, they are better situated, and he moves forward. And then, of course, he's going to elaborate in the next, way. So this is what, uh, Krishna is saying that these people. So when you say Bhakti Yoga versus Jnana Yoga, which is better? So now there is a distinction, and we know definitely that Bhakti Yoga is better. But Gyan Yoga, what do these Gyanis do? Maybe I'll explain, in the next section, a more detailed, information I would be giving. Actually, I've made my notes, but I think the time is not right, because by the time it becomes 2 hours, people are just over exhausted with too much of download. So maybe the next session I'll get. Anybody has any questions, doubts, queries? Hare Krishna, sweetie.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandot Pranam.
Yes, ask me the question.
Yeah, Mataji. So here Krishna has said that this path, apart from devotional service, this is also one path, and it is very difficult for embodied. So Mataji, from we all the living entities living in this material world are embodied. So to whom Krishna is referring to? Matlab,
All of
this
us.
path.
To all of us.
All of us means from Brahma to all of us, we are, or we all have the material body. So how to understand this?
Krishna is referring to all those people who are on the path of devotional service also and who are not on the path of devotional service also. So he's referring to, say, for example, if I see what he's trying to say, that whatever I have created, everything has a form, right? And a mouse also has a form, a book also has a form, a glass also has a form. Then why will Krishna not have a form? Right? The creator who has created is giving a form to every matter over here. Why will not the creator have a form? That is the question. So those who are doubting that the Lord is formless, it is for them. That how, on what basis are they saying that the Supreme Lord is formless? And that is why, in Toto, he is talking to everybody, to us also. Sometimes we also might become impersonal. And on a daily basis, also, if you see, we become impersonal. First, early in the morning only, we become so impersonal while chanting, as if Krishna is not standing only in front of us. You utter the word, you utter Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You start chanting. Maybe 5, 6 mantras you have started chanting. 8 mantras, maybe 10 mantras of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. All of a sudden, you call Krishna, and your mind goes somewhere else. You're not focused on Krishna's form who has come over there in front of us, because we have apurna indriya, imperfect senses. That is why these senses, when you keep on chanting, then becomes premanjana charita bhakti vilochanina. Prem ka anjan dalega when we'll be able to see Krishna. So at our level, we also become very much impersonal. I'm cooking food. I become very impersonal. I have to do this, I have to do that, and offering. Well, offering also I'm impersonal. I'm just ringing the bell. It's just a mechanical way of, okay, it's like some ritual I'm performing. But I don't see that, hey, Krishna is standing over here. I should be reciprocating with him while offering food. That's why we also become many times impersonal. In the garb of a personalist, we become impersonalist. And that is why many times Prabhupada says that, whatever activity you're doing now, you fix your mind on Krishna. And that's how you will be able to, remember, and you'll put your whole heart in that particular activity as such. So it is for us also. It's not only for those who are doing Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga and all. It is for us devotees also. He's talking about. Anything else anybody wants to ask? Okay. So if nobody has any questions, we'll wind up for the day. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.